Sometimes it feels like the sun will never rise, like the birds will never sing again. Believe in a power greater than what you are going through. When you don't know what to do, keep breathing.
That's right. When you don't know what to do, just keep on breathing. From the City of Angels in Los Angeles and the Big Apple in New York City, welcome to all my listeners out there in Radio Land. I'm Dave, the Caregiver's Caregiver, at caregiverdave.com, along with my lovely co-host, Adrienne Gruberg, at thecaregiverspace.org. And we're coming to you live and on demand 24/7 on 25 global audio and video platforms. I just discovered another one. Every time I Google myself, I realize, oh my gosh, I'm on another platform. iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Spreaker, SoundCloud, HealthyLife.net, Vimeo, Stitcher, Blog Talk Radio, Mixcloud, Listen Notes, Blueberry, Player FM, Podcast.com, VIP Internet Radio, TuneIn.com, Facebook Live, Owl's Tail, uBook, CastBox, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and of course, CaregiverDave.com. And I apologize, I can't remember what the 25th one is, but I'll write it down next time. We're proud to be voted.
I want you to do that in one breath. I really do.
Yes, I know you keep saying that, and I keep trying. But I'm an old guy, you know. We're proud to be voted #1 caregiver podcast of the top 50 on Player FM. Maybe I'll let you do it in one breath. And one of the top
I don't intend
6.
to be on that many.
And one of the top 6 best podcasts on caring.com, as well as the #3 podcast out of thousands of caregiver podcasts on FeedSpot. And we have an exciting show planned for you today, don't we, Adrienne?
Yes, we do.
2 of my favorite people in the world, me and her.
We have a good time.
Her and me.
Yeah.
But before we get started, we had a cancellation. Can you imagine someone canceling 24 hours before the show starts? Maybe it's coronavirus related, but we have to give people the benefit of the doubt because, you know, these are not normal times we're living in, are they?
No, these are the end of days.
The end of days. Wow, I'm glad you said that. I want to take this moment to thank my last week's guest, who I think was Lauren Gelberg Goff, a psychologist, author, and speaker, become best known for creating the powerful life-changing program for caregivers, Take Your Life Back. Was that the last one, Adrienne?
I'm not
If
sure.
Not, it might have been the second.
I'd have to look it up.
Who can remember these things? We're living in the last days, you know. All right. Just a reminder, you can watch or listen to that interview and all our interviews on our membership website, caregiverdave.com. You're able to watch the last 3 without becoming a member, but we encourage you to become a member because you get a whole bunch of stuff, including coaching from yours truly. Or you can find them on any of our other 25 global networks that I mentioned earlier.
Camille Superson.
Oh, yes, Camille Superson. How could I forget her? That was because of another cancellation. We had 2 cancellations in a row. Imagine that.
There you go. I'm sorry I didn't interrupt you, but I just found
No problem. No, it was a valid interruption. You know, this is not fake news. We like to report the truth here. So, welcome to the show, Adrienne and Dave. Why don't you take a minute or two? You know, we never ask ourselves this question. So I'm gonna ask you, and then I'll answer the question. Why don't you take a minute or two, Adrienne, and introduce yourself. I like to ask people just who is Adrienne Gruberg and why was she put on this earth? How's that? Tables are turned now.
Adrienne Gruberg is a creative, giving, caring person who was put on this earth to be an artist, a writer, a philanthropist, and someone with great insight and you really got me here, with great insight and compassion for caregivers and others. But I I was here to both create and help people.
And would you answer that before you became a caregiver, if somebody asked you that? Or did it change?
Well, I mean, now that I'm actually helping other caregivers,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I was a caregiver. I am a caregiver to other caregivers, as you are, but I would have identified as a caregiver, a creative soul, and a caregiver
Mm-hmm.
while I was caregiving. Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed something interesting as you were talking. You know about the three types of, what's the word for them? The way people hear things and communicate. There's the audio people, and they say things like, "Yeah, I hear what you're saying," and then there's the
Yeah.
visual people who say, "I see," and there's the touchy-feely people, the kinesthetics, who say, "Oh yeah, I feel your pain." And there's clues, there's tells to tell. For example, when a person is thinking and their eyes go up and to the right, like yours
Yeah.
do,
Yes.
you know what that makes you?
No.
I I think it's a visual. Are you a visual person?
You bet.
Okay, so I'm right.
I'm
And
gonna
then
argue.
and then I believe if it I can't remember this exactly, but if they go down, if your eyes go down, I think that's an audio. And if your eyes go to the left or to the right, I think
Just
that's a
leave.
kinesthetic.
No,
So,
what? you
so we've ascertained that Adrienne is a visual, and I am also a visual too, because when I also go up and to the right when I'm thinking of stuff. So maybe
and
that's why.
a lot of people will criticize you when you stop and think and look up
Oh, really? I never noticed that.
rather
Who?
than look directly at the person that you're talking to.
Well, then they're ignorant and they don't understand
Because
things.
sometimes you need to take that pause and look off to collect your thoughts and say what's important
Yeah,
rather
and as
than
a
just
speaker,
blabber.
silence and a pause is much better than let's
Oh,
see, all the filler words.
my brother has been giving me hell. Public speaking, Adrian, you can't just get on there and just say all the time. You've got to stop saying which is what I'm catching myself doing on my
Well,
daily Facebook posts now. And
yeah, silence is better than
he
even though
said,
it
just
seems
take a
awkward at
breath.
the time. But
Yes.
everyone at CNN and Fox and all the other media outlets and on radio, they are notorious with their ums. It's like, are they professional or what? So I guess everybody does it. And you can tell when someone is ad-libbing because they will pause and do ums. Obama is really bad about, they just played something he said the other day, and it took him like a minute to say something that someone can normally say in 15 seconds because he kept pausing and thinking and hesitating.
But he
And
had
so,
something worthwhile to
yeah,
say.
and the point is that you can tell it wasn't a prepared or rehearsed speech. He didn't memorize it. Someone just asked him something off the cuff, and I'm the same way. When I go on some of these interviews and they ask me something that I hadn't thought about, I will also be tempted to it and it and
But you have to think about it.
yeah, you have to think about it. And I wish I
Yeah.
could get in the habit of just keeping silent instead of saying my ums and my filler words. And it does. It feels awkward when you say it or when you don't say it. No, when you say it. No, it feels awkward when you pause and are silent because you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is dead space. I should be saying something. No, the pause is more powerful than the
The
word.
pause is more powerful. And
So,
as I've been watching myself, I did a whole post yesterday. It was 10 minutes long, and I I paused. The first time out, I didn't realize I was saying
Yeah,
and then I redid it because I couldn't stand it.
you know.
Now, my cousin Leslie says that I need to smile more, but you can't
Always
smile
need to
when you're talking
smile.
about certain things that are just so heavy that if you had a smile on your face, it would be totally inappropriate.
Well, that's true. I thought you were going to
And,
say you can't smile and talk at the same time, but yes, you can.
oh, of course you
Just,
can.
tell me about a sexual escapade that you had. You can't help but talk and smile at the same time.
Well, depends.
That's bad. Yeah, unless it was a bad one.
Yeah,
All right,
right.
so go ahead and ask me the question.
Dave, who is Dave Nisani? And take a few minutes to tell us who you are and why you were put on this earth.
That your impersonation of me?
I didn't get it straight, but yeah.
No, you got it right. Oh, I said it again. I said, So let me just pause and look up. That's a great question, Adrienne. That's a deep question. And see, those are fillers too.
Yeah.
That I'm thinking I better say something. Nobody's ever asked me that before. That's a great question.
Is that true?
Did I say again?
You did.
Is that true? Well, let me do that one over.
I'm
Is
going to
that
slap
true?
your hand every time you say
Is that true? Just sounds so natural to say when someone says, "Is that true?" I think it might be true. I don't remember. I've asked that question hundreds of times to every single guest,
I
but
know.
no one has ever asked me that question. So I'm probably not prepared to answer it. So now I'm on the cuff.
You just threw it at me and I had to
Yeah, well,
answer
there you
it.
go. You would think that one time when we asked someone else the question, we would say, "Gee, what would I say if somebody asked me that?" No, forget it. Okay, why? What's the question? Why was Dave Nasani put on this earth?
Mm-hmm.
I think
Who
the
is
answer.
Dave Nasani
Who
and
is?
why was he put on this earth?
I think, like you, the answer would be different if you asked me 23 years ago, and you asked me today, or if you asked me as a teenager. Because a lot of times we don't know what our destiny is when we're 19 or 20 or 21. We got
Or
married at
50 or
21.
60.
Yeah, some people still
Some
don't
people
know.
really change.
So I have to answer today as I look back because we don't know what we don't know. And when I was those younger ages, even though I didn't realize what my destiny was and what my purpose was and who I really am, it applies now because this is who I have become. This is who I have evolved into because of the bad things that have happened to me and the good things. I had lost a lot of money in 2008, and
Yeah.
it changed me dramatically. I almost lost my house, almost lost my business, almost went bankrupt. But I kept my peace, I kept my happiness, I kept my joy, I kept my faith, and it reminded me, wow, my faith is really real. Because I know a lot of people who claim to have faith, and then when trials come, they
Right.
go by the wayside, right? And I've discovered that you really know the true worth of a person, not when their bank account is full of money and when their wife is happy and the doctor says you're in the peak of health. It's when your wife serves you divorce papers, when the attorney says that bankruptcy is the only way out, when you're overdrawn in the bank, when, the doctor says you only have 3 days to live and stuff like that. That's what determines the character of a
Well,
guy.
if your wife serves you with divorce papers and you're going bankrupt,
Yeah,
you're golden.
yeah, I guess so. Or one or the other.
One or the other, yeah.
So Dave Nasani is a very complicated guy. I always tell people, half joking to my wife and to my kids when they criticize something that I do or forgot something and says, I've told you 3 times, why did I say, hey, it's not easy being Dave Nassani. I got a lot on my plate. Try walking 24 hours in my moccasins before you say that. Which it's funny because that's the look my wife gives me every time I give her a hard time. It's like, oh yeah, you think you have it hard? Try living 24 hours with half your body not working and your mouth not working. So yes, um, it's not easy being me. Why is it not easy being me? Because I wear so many hats. You know, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, soon to be a great grandfather. I am a caregiver. I am a caregiver's caregiver. I take care of my employees, so I'm an employer in addition to being an entrepreneur. I have, see, I'm looking down while I'm thinking. That must mean I have some audio in me. Otherwise, I'd be looking up. I, I, I really got me on the spot here.
Now you're looking left.
Now I'm looking left. I'm well balanced. I'm
Yeah,
kinesthetic, audio,
you're
and
just wearing all these different
I'm a
hats.
very well balanced person. You know, they have temperaments too. You know, the people who are fun motivated, I got about a third of that. The people who are cause motivated, you know, save the whales, save the planet, save the caregiver. And then there's the ones who are money motivated. That's me too. Got about a third of that. And then the one that I'm very weak in, and that's the green people. Those are the anal people, the engineers and the bookkeepers and the CPAs. That's not my. I got about
Numbers.
10% of that.
Numbers people.
You know, the
I'd
real.
rather hire those people.
Yeah. Now they're kind of boring. Please forgive me.
But they're necessary.
Yes, they're the ones who would, when you ask them what time it is, they say, "Well, it's 12:37 and 17 seconds." You know? Or you'll ask them for a number, and they'll give you the. Well, I've got to round up the cents, but here's the number. You know,
Right.
very detailed. They paint with a very fine pencil, and the other people just paint with very wide brushes, etc. So Dave Nassani is a guy who's all those things. He's balanced. He's sometimes he can be very money motivated, sometimes too much. Sometimes he can give the shirt off his back to people, a philanthropist. Sometimes he gives away too much, and sometimes he is saving the world and saving the planet and saving his kids when they get into trouble. Sometimes too much. So I always tell people that when they have a debate, you know, basically you can put it in two categories. You're making decisions based out of either logic and reason, or your head, your brain, or you're basing them out of empathy and sympathy, your heart, your emotions. And it's no good to just use one exclusively or the other, or you'll feel like a dictator, you know, someone who has cold water flowing through their veins, versus the other extreme is the one who's always given the store away, and you know he has
And
his
not thinking
checking
about the
account's always overdrawn.
consequences.
Yeah. So I say you should both let them vote. But the brain should have veto power. The brain should have 51% votes, and the heart should have 49.
Yeah.
I've told my kids that since they were very little, and that's all I'll say about that. Whether they listen or not is another issue. But I've always told them that. And so I try to do that. I don't always do it, but I try. That's my goal. And that's who Dave Nassani is. He's a well-balanced.
That's more than just a couple of minutes.
Well, I know, but we
few
got a whole
minutes,
hour.
Dave.
We got a whole hour, so I figured, what the heck?
I mean, I employ people, not as many as you do, but I was an entrepreneur. I had my own business before I went into this, which informed me a great deal about how to go about this business, the
Are you a
demographics.
born entrepreneur, or did you learn how to be an entrepreneur?
I learned how to be an entrepreneur.
See, now you're looking to the left sideways, so you're balanced too.
Ah! No, I guess that's the business side.
Yeah.
I learned how to be an entrepreneur. Um, Now, the thing is, I'm not a financially successful entrepreneur. I mean, I had a business where everybody got paid except me.
Well, that
Um,
happens in entrepreneurial circles all the time.
all the time. But I was content doing the work, and I knew that I had Steve there as a buffer. He would always rescue me if I needed it. I tried not to ever need it. I might have to cut close to the vest, but I learned a lot of lessons, and I think you keep learning lessons about being an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Let's take a
But
break.
I like to hire people in the areas that I have no strength in. I've learned that. I can't try and do my own taxes, for example. No
Sure.
way. No way.
Yeah, that is so boring. I mean, I do
Mhm.
balance my checkbook. It's a pain, but
Yes.
I'd rather do it so that I know what I have. When I met my wife, and this should have been a red flag, and I realized that she never balanced her checkbook. She just would get the envelope that comes in the mail with all your canceled checks, and she'd throw it in a drawer. And she opened the drawer,
I
and there were hundreds of these things. It was a big drawer,
never
hundreds
opened.
unopened. And I said, how do you balance your checkbook? She goes, oh, every
I
month
don't.
I just add 20, 30, $40, just in case. And when it gets really out of hand, I just close the account and open a new one at a new bank. He says, oh. Nothing much has changed, by the way.
It is a red flag. Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Our featured speaker is a best-selling author who has written numerous books and articles. He's a speaker, life coach, and host of Dave the Caregiver's Caregiver radio program. He frequently appears on television and radio shows all across the country and has even shared the stage with Suzanne Summers at Harvard. But his most important role is caregiver to his beautiful wife Charlene for over 22 years. Please welcome Mr. Dave Nasani!
I want to share with you a love story. In a couple of weeks, my wife and I will be celebrating 44 years of being together. My wife, Charlene, and I had a fairy tale, storybook, romance, courtship, and marriage for the first 21 years of our lives together. One day, out of nowhere, my wife has a headache, the headache of her life. She suffered a massive stroke, and it left her severely speech impaired and paralyzed on the right side. And in that moment, our world turned upside down. I gotta tell you, the next 2 years was like a living hell. I just didn't know what to do. I felt guilty most of the time. I became a caregiver. I didn't even know what a caregiver was. I was experiencing the same problems that other caregivers experience. If you don't take care of you, I can't take care of her. Well, that's why I wrote the book. Now I can teach other caregivers. I'm living proof that you can thrive as a caregiver. My wife and I travel now all over the world sharing our story. One day, life is going to call upon you to be the captain of your boat. Heck, you might be saving your own life. Thank you.
And we're back with Adrienne Gruberg and Dave Nasani. You're both caregivers. Adrienne, former, and me, current. And we're talking about just stuff. And I thought of something when you were saying what we can talk about for the rest of the hour, but I totally forgot. It has something to do with...
Doesn't work, Dave.
It was good, too. But it'll come back to me. It had something to do with... not necessarily the coronavirus, but it had to do with caregivers. It had to do with
Does it have to
current
do with
events.
being sequestered?
It was something you said. That doesn't ring a bell. But there's so many things we can talk about.
Isolation?
Perhaps. You said something about someone was asking a question on your website. What was that?
I don't
Can you
know.
look? Oh, see, you forgot too. Well, people are wondering, just what we were talking about. How are you coping in this virus environment, right? Because some people are
Yeah.
handling it okay. They're tolerating it. They're getting a little antsy, but some people are just freaking out, you know?
Well, yeah, some people, there are
And
some
they were at
people
the very
who,
beginning, too.
I know there are really just some people who
Mm.
cannot cope, not just with being alone, because sometimes if you're alone, you can be alone with someone
Hmm.
or all by yourself. Um, Happily, Eddie's here, and I'm not alone by myself. He got here on March 11th, and I have a feeling he'll be here until the end of August. He's
He may
doing,
never leave, but he.
no, I mean he's doing his deals on the phone, but he's got to set up appointments for people to come and look at all of these
Is he
different
happy in New
things.
York? Does he like New York?
Yeah, he has his own place in New York.
Oh, does he?
He doesn't stay there, but yes, he has his own apartment in the
And it's
theater
not rented out
district.
or anything?
He can't rent it out because it's a rent control building where there are lawsuits pending. And he's waiting to be compensated for things that the landlord didn't provide that he said he was going to. And then he's waiting to be bought out when somebody else buys the building and wants him out of there. So
I
he's not
see.
taking any chances because
So
that's
he's
a nest
renting.
egg.
He's renting.
He's renting
And it's in
very
Manhattan.
cheaply
Hmm.
in Manhattan. He has a studio. We calls it a one bedroom. It fits in my kitchen, but
Yeah, I wouldn't want to stay
one
there
bedroom.
either.
And
Good part of town?
in the theater district, yeah, it's a good
Oh.
part of town. He's on Restaurant Row on
Hmm.
46th between 8th and 9th,
Nice bachelor
and
pad.
it is the street with the most restaurants in New York and cabarets, and
Is he allowed
it's
to
an exciting
sublet
street.
for a higher
No,
rent?
no,
Really?
no. He tried that, and his landlord said,
Uh-uh.
uh-uh.
Share the wealth.
Yep. So he doesn't. The guy doesn't seem to care that he's not there at all, but
No. All right,
he
I
would
keep
care if
distracting us
he
from
didn't do it. Yeah, he wasn't there.
the topic at hand. So, yeah, a lot of people have trouble coping with life in general, and this just made things worse. Whatever, everyone's going through something, right? Everyone is either emotionally insecure or doesn't want to be alone. And, there's just a whole list of other things. I've got this thing on my wall that says, "How are you feeling today?" And there's like 32 little
Right,
faces.
right.
Some are going, ah, and some are going, And so that's just a small portion of the emotions that people feel. But this
I've got
is
three
this never
words
happened
right
before.
now. Three
Okay.
words: fear,
Hmm.
uncertainty, and
Yeah,
doubt. And they're driving the world at this point.
that's true.
Because no one
Media
knows
media
what's
doesn't
going to
help at
be.
all.
Well, even media marketeers, no, people who care what you buy,
Yeah.
or have a driven political agenda. No, they
Yeah.
don't care. But yes, there's fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and that was what my post was about yesterday.
Mm.
Um, it's it's not easy to think about it, but that's what we're all living with every day. We
Do you
might not
think?
be afraid of it, but I mean, I'm not afraid of it particularly because I know what to do to make myself safe. But
But you feel better that
uncertainty,
Eddie's with you.
Yeah, I feel
obviously.
better that I'm not alone. Yeah, absolutely. Um, I
No one should
I
be
am,
alone.
however, supposed to be looking for a new place to live, and I can't. I can't leave the house. They're not showing apartments,
Now, wait a
so
minute.
I can't.
Did you sell your place?
Yes,
So
I'm
what
supposed to
is
be out at
the?
the end of October,
Oh, this is a
and
long
they still
time.
haven't closed yet. They were supposed to close yesterday,
Can they
and
back out or no?
well, they can't. But if they back out, they lose a
They
lot of
lose their
money,
deposit. Okay.
and they
Even if they try to
what
blame the
we're
virus, they
afraid
would
of,
lose a lot of money.
what we're afraid of is that now they're going to try and renegotiate, but I don't think that's where it's at with them. Um, but they haven't gotten their financial statements to my board yet, so more uncertainty.
Yeah.
I
Well,
know they could afford the place,
yeah.
but they're preparing their financial statements and they should have had them prepared already, but the virus has kept that from happening.
Yeah.
So I have doubts as to when that's going to actually happen. But I'm not afraid it's not going to happen. I believe it will happen.
Now,
So
do you believe people are starting to understand that their politicians don't really care? That all this is just talk? That everything they do is really in their best interest and not the public's best interest? Do you think
most of them,
there's
yeah.
a lot of cynicism happening in the political climate of
And I
the
think people
Americans?
are real. Look, you've got an election coming up, not just the presidential election,
Yeah.
but I think the next two elections, both this one and the next senatorial election and representational election, are really going to
Yeah.
be
Think
thought
it's an
about a great deal.
think it's
People are
an
not happy
ant,
with their representation.
think it's an anti-incumbent mood again.
I think it's been an anti-incumbent move since before he was the incumbent. Uh, I really do, but nobody thought he was going to win, including him.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
talking about locally too.
yeah, well,
New
locally
York's
we
got
happen to have.
issues.
I mean, I'm in Manhattan, and I'm in New York State. I have very experienced representation, and my governor. I'm not pleased with my mayor, but my governor is right now setting the tone for what the rest of the country should be doing, and that has me feeling very secure.
You mean sending old people back to nursing homes so they can be infected?
Who said that?
That's what he did.
No. Where did you get that?
Well, how else did the population of nursing homes be responsible for such a high percentage of the deaths?
He didn't send people back to nursing homes.
He wanted to empty the hospitals for the beds, and so
No, 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 no,
he
no, no.
sent them to a nursing home, and the nursing homes got infected. That's what
There were
was reported
places
on
to
the
be
news.
putting people should be. Well, I don't know what channel you listen to, but but there are motels and places that people who need to be quarantined are
Well, he's doing it
quarantined.
right now, but I mean in the beginning.
Oh no! In the beginning, it was catch as catch can. It was all new. Not
All right, so
a,
you're saying the
Nobody
reports
really knew
are
what they were
suspect.
doing, but I never heard that he was
Yeah.
sending people back to nursing homes to die.
Well, I
I
don't know
mean,
what
it
channel you're
sounds like
listening
death
to.
panels is what you're talking about. That's what
Well,
it sounds like.
I'm sure he didn't do it on purpose. It just made sense. Hey, okay, you don't need to be hospitalized anymore. Where are we going to put you now? Well, the logical place is in a nursing home in rehab. Not realizing that they could infect, right? Because they still have the
But
virus. It's still infectious.
there are degrees of rehab. There
All right, let's get
there
back on the
are.
topic. So, people have options, right? how, instead of freaking out, let's talk about the ones that are just freaking out, that are not doing one. When you say, "How you doing?" I'm not doing well. I'm not doing well. I'm not doing well. And they're really not doing well.
Are
They're
these people
just
that are
hanging
still, are
on by
they
their
still
fingernails.
isolating, or have they tried to go back to work, or are
Well,
they
they
working from
can't go back to
home, or
work.
what?
Um, they're people. I don't know if you have any, but they're people who are just feeling like they're a prisoner in their own home. They're feeling
Mm-hmm.
like they don't want to be around family members as much as they have been, because
Right.
what family gets along, after a while? It's like, remember, you had kids and they had a best friend and they got along great, but then when they spend too much time with each other, they start fighting and
Yeah.
bickering, and then you tell them, okay, I think you've spent enough time with your friend, you need a break. And that happened with our kids all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they wouldn't recognize it, but we as a parent would, and we
As
would
parents,
separate
you saw
them
it, sure.
and, give them a week off. And then after the week, they were so happy to be together again.
Back
And
with
then
their friends, yeah.
and then slowly you would see, okay, you're spending too much time together because, can I do this tomorrow and then the next day, no, you need some breaks because you will get sick of each other. And that's why I warn my kids, whoever you're going to marry, you can really get sick of. You need to just kind of have a long engagement, at least a year would be ideal. I mean, my engagement was a year and 3 months. I knew what I was getting into when I married my wife. And I was happy with it because we had never fought, never had an argument. She's a great cook. She's experienced. I am like laissez-faire, so it was a great match. But some people, man, they're 3 months to get married. Some people 1 month to get married. I've heard.
I don't get that.
I don't either. But it's love at first sight, Adrienne. But the point is, people shouldn't be cooped up with family members or whoever there it is they're living with, right? Especially, boyfriend, girlfriend who are living together, right? And they were about to break up before the virus, and now they're
Oh, well,
stuck with
that's
each
what,
other.
it's like January 1st. After the new year, there are more divorces filed for because people are taking
Yeah,
stock of their lives. When you're stuck in the same place with someone, it's
yeah.
in your face all the time as to what you can't stand about the person. You know, it's,
And it's been long enough now, 45 days or whatever it's been. People are starting to ask questions. Just customers coming in the station when we ask them, "Sir, you need a mask?" They immediately start giving commentary. Well, this world has survived for thousands of years, and more people have died, and they bring up examples of other pandemics in the past, and not as many people have died, and so it just makes you wonder, yeah, why this is the first time we've shut down something for X number of people who have died, and I mean, life is about dying. It just happens, Sometimes it's a plague, sometimes it's a flu, sometimes it's nuclear war, whatever it is. Um, you just go on. Sometimes World War II, right? You just go on. And
we
I'm
haven't.
wondering what changed where everybody or somebody, and then everyone agreed, came up with, oh, we've got to shut this thing down because it's too dangerous. Well, there have been
There are
other dangerous things.
there
People
are
are just
more
asking, is
people,
all I'm
but
saying.
there are more people than there used to be. The world's crowded.
Crowded.
We now have all sorts of ways of communicating and trying to communicate through, working from home, and like God, Zoom has taken off. But people can work from home. They have managed to keep in touch. In 1918, we lost 875,000 people in the United States versus God knows how many millions, like 90 million people died worldwide. Um, but technology has changed so much that instead of people dying on the streets and having, the horse-drawn carriages, horse-drawn carts saying, bring out your dead, it's not the same thing as it used to be. I think this is an aside. I have a friend who lost her father yesterday. It's going to be forever until they can have a funeral.
Mm.
There
Some Hasidics had a funeral anyway in New York, and
you can't.
They did it.
You can't.
You did hear about that, though, right? And
I mean,
they were allowed to do it. I mean, they were told not to do it. They did it anyway. And I mean, 1,400 people went to this funeral.
How many?
1,400.
Oh, that was the rabbi.
Yeah.
That was the rabbi. No.
Yeah,
that was.
That was a big event. And
those
then,
are crazy
of course.
People.
Yeah, that's a lot
I
of
will
people
say that they're Jewish, and I think they're crazy people.
You mean there's crazy Jewish people out there? Imagine that.
Oh, many.
Crazy everybody. Every kind of this, just a cross section,
It's heartbreaking that so many people are dying alone, and that so many people can't see their loved ones either in hospitals or in senior residences. In senior residences, they're trying to have the families talk face-to-face on tablets and things, and they're being supervised because these people don't know what they're doing. It hurts. It does hurt, but it has made shutting down more possible, even with the size of our economy. And yes, it's going to take a long time to get the economy back, but there are going to be new things, new opportunities that present themselves as a result of this, I believe. Scientific, and maybe work from home strategies and things like that, that more and more people look. I really think that things like real estate, office real estate, they're going to take a hit because they found that so many people can work from home. They're not going to be. They're not going to be renting the huge offices that they rented before if they don't have to.
Yeah.
They'll be taking that money.
There's some people on Facebook. Let me just give out a phone number if somebody wants to call in. It's 1-408-419-1715. Again, that's 1-408-419-1715. And you need a meeting ID, which is 512-012-382. Again, the phone number, 408-419-1715. And the meeting ID is 512-012-382.
You should always have that across the bottom of the screen.
I should, and as soon as I figure out how to do that, I will.
Look, if you don't learn how to do it on a character generator, you can always print out a sign. And
I can.
Put it in the middle.
Well, my signs like backwards, or let me see, can you read that?
No.
That's not backwards?
Mm-mm. Well, I can read NASDAQ and faster, better, easier, extra pack 20.
Okay, so that's all. All right, I'll do that.
And then. Chris Rock has been staring me in the face for weeks now.
Chris Rock, gotta love him, right? Love
Yep.
him or hate him. Okay, what did I say the phone number was? It's see here, 408.
Are you binging?
What do you mean? No, I'm not binging. I don't have time to binge.
You don't have time to binge. Okay.
I wish I did have time. I do watch when my wife wants me to be with her, like on date day. We watch Rain, about Mary, Queen of Scots, and the King of France, and that's
Right.
interesting. 1715
On what?
on Netflix. That's all we really watch. Netflix.
I wish that's what we
Fine.
watched. I
know.
search so many channels every night.
So
We've watched almost everything.
you've run out of things to watch. Okay, I wrote it down. I don't know if you can see that.
You're holding
People.
it too close to the screen.
People out there. See, I see it backwards, but I guess you've turned it around.
No, it's okay. We can read it.
All right. So,
Print
Yeah.
it out next time and have it on
All
a
right.
nice, neat piece of paper at the bottom of the screen. Or wear a T-shirt.
yes, Adrienne, I'll put it all over my T-shirt. So, if you want to talk to us, because hey, we're valuable people to talk to. People pay a lot of money to talk to us, or at least they should. Ask your question. If you have a coronavirus question and you want to be part of the conversation, we don't have much more longer to go. What time is it? About
5:35.
Yeah, we got a little time to go, but I recommend maybe 10 minutes actually.
Yeah.
So do it. I'm going to put my hand down now because it's getting tired. So if you didn't write it down, you don't want it. There you go. Oh, how long is this going to take? The $50 million question. Remember that show?
$65,000 question.
Well, did it say the same, or did it always change the number? Always 65,000.
No, the $65,000 question was always the same. Millionaire changed. Who wants to be a millionaire? They changed formats so many times on that one. It's ridiculous.
So how long is it going to take? LA had their first day open. Maybe that's another reason why we were busy at the gas station, because
Makes
Friday
sense.
they opened up the parks and the trails and the beaches and other
not
things.
All of them.
There are
Safely.
still some municipalities who are a little stricter, but there are some like San Diego who says they were doing it before you said it and they were getting in trouble. Orange County, of course, is this place. Southern Californians are strange people. They put up with a lot of stuff to live here. The weather, they don't put up with the weather. They put up with a lot of stuff to get the weather. And one of the things that reason why they live here is the beaches.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like if you can't go to the beach when you want to and it's hot outside, 85, 90 degrees, you're not living in America. We're living in the Soviet
I don't want to go to the
Union.
beach. I want a pool.
Yeah, but you're not a Californian. You're a New Yorker.
No, but I have actually been thinking of leaving New York.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah. Ojai, California.
Well, then it's a good thing you didn't buy a place yet,
Well,
because
that's the point. Now that
you
I
would go
know
to
I
Ojai,
can't-
really? That's a wonderful place. Did Eddie tell you that? You didn't even
we
know
would
what
go to
Ojai was,
Ojai.
right? Have you seen it? Did you visit
Just
it?
online.
It is. It is right down the block
We've
from me,
been looking. I
practically.
mean,
And it's a hop,
he's
skip,
always
and jump
talked
to the
about
beach.
He's always talked about Sedona. It's beautiful, but there's nothing to do, and I don't play golf, and I don't play cards, and I don't play bridge or mahjong
It's
or
a
anything
good retirement
else. So
community.
I don't want to. It's beautiful, but I'd be bored. It wouldn't
It's like
be a
Greenwich
place for me to
Village
be
on
an
the West
artist.
Coast.
Oh, hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want.
You're a Greenwich Village kind of girl, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd fit right in. That would be
Yeah.
awesome. I
As
vote
long
you
as
should
it's
do
close
that.
enough for Eddie to be able to get to auditions if he chooses to.
Well,
that'll
if he's
be
in
fine.
Sylmar now, he can get to Ojai in 45 minutes, I think.
Right.
Not
Not bad.
I can get to Ojai in 45 minutes.
And you can fill him up.
And fill him up. I can fill him up. And that sounds like a good place to plug my second book, Getting Hosed, Secrets, Confessions, and Tales of a Gas Station Owner. That book is still selling to my amazement. Just got my royalty check.
Really?
And I says, wow. Well, it's a fun book, you know. People have this what's the word? The correct root word. It's a fantasizing, but fanaticism. No, it's not. It's they have just something with the gas station industry.
Fascination?
That's the word I was looking for. And it has nothing to do with fantasizing, does it?
No.
They have a fascination. See, we make a good team. With the gas station business, every time I go to a party or something, they learn I have a gas station, the same questions, and they're all the same. That's why I wrote the books, and I just say, here, read the book. But they want to know, can we charge what we want to charge, or does the oil companies force us to charge? They want to know, am I wasting my money putting premium? Should I be getting regular? They want to know, is Mobil any better than Arco or better than that no-name brand down there? You must have muted yourself because you were talking, but nothing came out of your mouth.
What brand are you?
I'm Mobil.
You're Mobil.
Yeah.
You're one of the biggies.
Yeah, I've had 5 stations in my life. Shell was one of them, and Texaco was one of them, and my own brand, which was a cute little derrick. It was called It's a Gusher, and the was an oil derrick with oil shooting out, and I loved it.
Did you have your own wells?
No, I didn't have my own wells.
Oh no, yeah.
But it didn't do well. Talk about an entrepreneur who doesn't make money. Those other stations, because at that time, we're talking about stuff that caregivers probably aren't interested in, but you never know what caregivers are interested in. Sometimes they need a diversion.
They're interested in it sometimes in diversion.
Yeah. So we're giving you a diversion here. Being in the gas station business, I don't know if you remember, Arco used to be
Sure.
A major player. Arco was just like Mobil or Shell or Texaco. And then they built the Alaska pipeline. And they got all this cheap crude that came right across the pipeline. So they decided, okay, we could either pad our profits with that money, which any self-respecting oil company would have done, but they had a different plan. They decided that they were going to lower their price 10 cents a gallon below everyone else. And what everyone else was, they're going to be 10 cents below it. And so it seemed like all of my stations had an Arco across the street from them, and they all did poorly because how can you compete? In those days, you were lucky if you were making 10 cents a gallon margin. And you'd have to give it away at cost. No one's going to do that. So they built a tremendous brand doing that. A lot of people don't realize that they are a major brand. At least they were, and unless they're doing something funny with their gas, it's good gas. But that's what caused me to just get rid of all those other stations and just stick with the one that's always made money up by a resort community up there, and people come in because they need gas. They're not shopping around. Their tanks are on empty. Their bladders are on full. They need a restroom. I serve coffee, espresso. They need to stay awake. And so it's a gold mine. And I've had that place for 40 years, and it was a miracle that I got it because it almost didn't happen, but God made a way where there was no way. He parted the Red Sea. In fact, that very verse in Exodus has very special meaning to me because I almost lost getting that station because I had sold my station on the promise that they would give me a station, and they reneged on the escrow. Right when the gas shortage started, the second gas shortage in 79. And so, I'm out without a gas station, and you can't get any. They're all taken.
I remember.
And they're all very expensive. And I was going to sue them. But they said, well, go ahead and sue us. We got attorneys downtown who do nothing but answer lawsuits. But then I
remember I had to get up at the crack of dawn then because I was taking car to work at the time. And I would have to. I had to wait for a station in the Bronx to even open.
Yeah,
and there was a line all the way, all the way across the
Sure.
the, the bridge waiting to
Yeah. In
get it
those
through.
days, more than half our oil came from Saudi Arabia and from the Arab world. Today, we are energy independent. But a lot of
Yes, we
people
are.
don't like that. They think that we should get rid of fossil fuels and just,
Yes.
get rid of cows and get rid of airplanes. And, you talked about crazy Jews before. These are crazy liberals who, excuse me, but this is what made America great. And we've got hundreds of years worth of fossil fuel, and you just want to get rid of it. And I'm sorry. Go start your own country and make it green, but I don't think this country should do that. And I'm an
There is,
entrepreneur. I'm speaking as an entrepreneur, and I'm speaking as
yeah.
someone. You're going to take away the lifeblood and the goose that laid the golden eggs of prosperity. We have blessed the world with our prosperity, our ingenuity. There we go.
Ingenuity. Well, I mean,
We
right
put a
now
man
we're
on the
having
moon.
problems. We've got, they're killing thousands and thousands.
Animals,
What's the
pigs.
word? Euthanizing thousands of cows a day
Yeah, pigs too.
and pigs.
And so they're
And you
trying
look at the
to,
number of people that are going hungry.
I know. And Trump's
This is
trying to
such a
sign
waste, such a
something.
monumental waste. And yet you
They're
can't
afraid of
open the meat
lawsuits.
plants yet because that's a breeding ground for the virus.
Yeah.
Why
So
don't they just do
something
it outside?
to it. What is it?
Butcher.
Put your outside. Yeah, in the fresh
What
air.
we don't really know yet is whether or not our food can carry the virus.
Someone told me that animals can, your dog. So if you take your dog to the groomer and they've got COVID-19, that the dog can bring it back home. Is that really true?
I don't know if the groomer has to have COVID-19, but I know that, well, Shotzi's a shut-in. She never goes out. But dogs and a lot of cats and dogs have both presented with it. I don't know if
That's
it
a
has to do
scary
with the
thought.
groomers or not. It could just be with the air that they breathe or
See?
whatever they pick up on the streets.
We're trying to calm caregivers down, and we gave them one new thing to worry about.
Oh,
So just forget what we said. It's not true.
just
Google
take
it.
comfort in your pet.
Yes. The real thing is to know God, because if you're going to die, you're going to die. I mean, we're all dying, just some sooner than others.
Right.
And, when I go on vacation and stuff, I make reservations. I have my ticket, I have my hotel room. If you're going to die one day, make reservations. Read the Bible and do what it tells you to do to prepare for the next life. I know every religion has their different interpretations
Well,
of
I'll
it.
pre-plan mine. I will pre-plan mine. It's not on my brother or my niece or my nephew or
Yeah.
any family.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
not just talking about pre-planning for
No,
the
but I
grave,
mean,
of course, but yes,
it talks about
it's
what you
stressful.
want in terms of your service, in terms
Yeah.
of how you want to be buried. It's everything. It's everything,
And
really.
as they say, make your peace with God, because everybody
Right.
has, we're the creation. God is the creator. He made us. If he talks, believe me, we will hear his voice, because my dog knows my voice. All I got to do is says, hey. If somebody else says, hey, he won't answer, but he knows my voice. And when God speaks, you will recognize his voice. And so make your peace with God, okay, so that you have a
You're
place to
saying I'll
go.
recognize his voice.
That's what he says, yeah.
Okay.
Talk to him, and he'll answer. And with that, we've run out of time.
Okay.
So it's been a weird show,
It's
and
been a weird show, but it's
we
been
didn't
fun.
just talk about caregiving and the coronavirus. We talked about like any and everything, like the show on Saturday Night Live. We had some coffee talk, right?
Yeah, coffee talk.
And
Talk.
we hope we gave you a nice diversion from reality,
Yes.
and that was our purpose. And so we didn't just want to give you reality and news and stuff like that. So just
It's
hey,
all a little pertinent.
yeah.
There were
But we were
You know,
being sociable, and we were being talking about silly stuff and stuff that's not that important in the world scene, but stuff that just friends would talk about. So that's it. I'm going to let everybody go, and we'll see you next week with a real guest. Not that we aren't real guests.
oh,
We're fake guests. Fake guests. No fake guests here. All right, unless they cancel because of the coronavirus. But
well, you never know. Yeah.
and now I'm running out of guests because
Maybe we'll start to just have to take people off the street.
maybe we were supposed to have a year's full of guests at the New York Publicity Summit, and they had the nerve to tell me that they're cutting it down and having only the major outlets and not us little guys.
So you're not being included in it.
I sent you an email or something, right? Did you get it? Oh, you got to check your email. Yeah. So I says, hey,
I did
what's going
check
on?
my email.
And they says, I'm sorry, we should have told you, but we're limiting it to like 60 producers, whereas before they'd have 150. So because we're limiting it, and I guess less people signed up for it to talk to the producers.
Will you be entitled to get the list of the people who signed up for it?
Now that's a good question. I don't know if I will or not because
I would try.
I'll see what they can do.
Because you could cull people from the herd.
We had counted on this, and this is where we get our guests from, and you owe me. I'll say it nicer though. All right. Well, have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Talk to you next week.
Have a good week.
Thanks for showing up, Adrienne. You're very
welcome.
faithful. I know I could always count on you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sometimes it feels like the sun will never rise, like the birds will never sing.